So how did that actually happen for you? Like, you know, for the people that don't know that, I guess your online history, if you just take us through the, you know, you find a credit card and deposit it online, is that what happened?
Actually, what happened was my brother owed me a little bit of money, and I wanted cash, but he wanted to give it to me on Party Poker, and I reluctantly agreed, and he ended up sending it to me, and I ended up losing it, but I also got addicted to online poker, so I started playing regularly, and I think it was actually right after I went to the reserves, the Army in Canada, and I made like maybe 6,000 or 7,000 in like 3 or 4 months, doing like the most vigorous work. Like it definitely wasn't enough. I mean, 6,000 or 7,000 for my age, it sounds like a lot, but it was 24 hours. Like you're at you're in this camp for the summer, and it was like doing the hardest work of my life. And then I come home, I blow it all on poker like within a week or two. It was pretty hard on me, but I never really quit. Unfortunately, like I don't have the same story as Annette, where like she never deposited on a site and she just won a free roll. I actually like lost a lot before I started winning, and you know, it's kind of an investment you have to pay. Like I look at it as putting my money almost into like a stock market, where like my money's, even though if I lose, or I'm kind of like just getting dividends off you know, the winnings for the rest of my life, because you know, even if I don't do well at first, like that knowledge and experience I gained from losing the money is going to pay dividends in the future, and that's exactly what happened. So but the thing is, I lost when I first started playing. I lost a lot of money in cash games, but as soon as I went to tournaments and sitting goes, that's when I started excelling, and that's when I realized that was like my talent, and that's what I'm good at, and that's kind of like what will pay the bills. And you know, even to this day, I still dabble into cash games when I shouldn't.
Is that just a sick poker player inside you? Just
yeah, pretty much. I mean, usually I think I have pretty good, decent game selection now, but I've just, you know, for me, cash games are higher variance than tournaments, even though like a lot of people say the exact opposite. Just for me personally, just because of my style of play, cash games are actually a lot higher variance for me.
How would you describe your style of play for those back home?
I'm very loose. I put a lot of pressure on people. I play a lot more situational than I do based on like cards, and I'm not afraid to like make moves. So that's pretty much like my style of play. I think I've always been like willing to like put my chip stack in on like a bluff, or if I have a read against my opponent, just willing to like go with it.
So you reckon that playing intuitively for you works far better than, I mean, how much of a mathematical flavour do you put into your game?
Not much. I mean, honestly, I don't even really know what pot odds are, and I wouldn't know what 2 to 1 is or 3 to 1. Like, it doesn't really make sense to me. I know certain things, like very basic forms of math, and a lot of the math I know it, but it's all subconscious. Like for instance, if I'm raising like 3 times a big blind, and then someone shoves in for less than 10 times a big blind, I know I have to call. That's pretty much like as far as my math knowledge goes.
Rules of thumb.
Yeah, and
it's getting in the corner.
otherwise I could fold, but I make a decision like based on their ranges and everything. But I don't think math is a big part of my game, and I don't know, maybe if I implement math a little bit more, I could even become better, but I don't know, I almost think it could be counterproductive, and it could actually affect my game in a negative way.
Sure. Well, the flip side is, because you're playing intuitively, you've got much more freedom, whereas people who play maybe mathematically just restrict themselves to certain ranges of hands and whatnot.
Exactly. It's a lot more fun to play the way I do as well. Like, you never really get bored because you're always like messing with people's heads, and it's always like it's like psychological warfare. You know, like you're trying to get inside the people's heads. You're trying to like think what they're thinking, and trying to like understand their perception of you, and try to get to understand how they think that you think of them. It's like it goes really deep, and a lot of the mathematical players, they don't really consider that much. They more just look at their hand and they say, okay, I have a 12% chance of hitting a set, or you know, like they just play their cards, and it becomes really easy to play against those players. But there are very successful, mathematically oriented players, but I I don't know. That's only because like people are so bad at poker that you know, even just playing tight aggressive and just waiting for cards is going to work for you.
Yeah.
As long as you know how to put pressure on in like the later stages, and the best tight aggressive players are really good at doing that. So.
Well, tournaments are definitely your forte, aren't they? What's been what's your record so far?
Well, I've done really well online. I've had like, I think, 600,000 or 700,000 in profit this year in online tournaments, and live, through the small sample size that I've had a lot of success as well, like with the Irish Open and a few World Series cashes. Aruba was my first tournament. I came 10th in that. So I haven't really played that many live tournaments, but I think the more I play and the more experience that I get from each event, the better I'll become, and the more results, the better results I'll be seeing. And I really think I really have like strong. I have like a lot of ambition of like being like one of the best live players, and I think that I think I can do it as long as I just keep focused and just stay motivated.